Hey, ladies, let's do a little mindset chatter today, shall we? Because mindset is a critical component to overcoming chronic fatigue because rewiring some of our thought patterns and learning how to use our own minds to promote healing and balance is the best, fastest way to reduce our emotional fatigue. And emotional fatigue definitely plays a role in our chronic fatigue. Living with chronic fatigue as an illness is defeating, which affects our psychological health. We battle burnout and adrenal fatigue that comes from stress, which is a major trigger for ongoing emotional fatigue. So we have all of these pieces. We have physical fatigue, we have emotional fatigue, we have mental fatigue, we have environmental fatigue from the toxins and shit in our environment. But let's look at emotional fatigue today because it is so, so important. And I feel like it's way too often overlooked, or it's only looked at and then the others are overlooked. So just remember, everything is holistic with the body, it all impacts each other. So we need to look at not only improving the balance of the physical body with nutrition and, of course, lifestyle habits related to things like exercise and sleep and taking care of ourselves. But we also need to critically examine how our thoughts are affecting our energy. Are you ready? All right. So today's topic is on how our limiting beliefs can keep us stuck because they can lead to feelings of overwhelm. And I'm sure you've all felt a little bit of overwhelm or a lot of overwhelm in your life. I am notorious for getting overwhelmed. It used to be very easy for me to get overwhelmed. It's so much better now that my hormones are balanced, my energy production is high. The overwhelm is actually so much less of an issue, but it happens. Definitely happens. Definitely can cause me to crash. For example, today, as I record this, my husband and I are planning, if all the stars align, to fly out of Canada and into Nicaragua next week. We are in the midst of dismantling our home, getting rid of almost all of our stuff, trying to pack what's necessary into 2 bags and a carry-on. We each have a cat to take care of, so getting them ready to fly out of the country. We are cleaning up. We've had the house painted. It's just been in disarray for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And yeah, there's nights when I'm just, holy crow, so overwhelmed and I just want to crash. I am learning and remembering to heed my own advice. And if I need to take a rest, I'm doing it, even if it's just for an hour to just sit and read or just sit. But there's a lot to do and it's extremely overwhelming. I've never done this before, moved out of a country. I've never moved in the sense that I have to get rid of all of my stuff before I vacate the house. Like I don't have another place to put it. So it's overwhelming. And when we first started to look at this project, we talked about it, dabbled a bit, did a bit of research, blah, blah. When we realized it was going to be big, when we first sat down to write everything out, I just felt exhausted looking at the list. Absolutely bone-crushingly exhausted. I hadn't done anything, just looking at the list. I just wanted to go to bed and crawl under the covers and sleep it off. I wanted to forget about it all. It was just so much for my brain to handle at one time with everything else going on in my life. And then I thought about all the physical labor of moving the furniture and getting rid of all this stuff and just cleaning. And I just seriously thought I was going to give up and just forget it. Mainly because in my past, when my chronic fatigue was so, so bad, any type of disruption to my routine, to my very protected energy, any additional physical labor, any big project would totally derail me. Back then, I just had zero energy, and I totally knew that anything like moving furniture, packing up, cleaning extra was just going to be a killer for me, and I would be down and out for days afterwards. So when this move project came to fruition, I absolutely let these past limiting beliefs about my ability to handle such a project pop up, and I let it get the best of me and my energy. And I had a lot of days where I just felt like I can't do this. I was resisting it. I was feeling so overwhelmed. However, with all of the work that I have done on my own mindset and working through emotional fatigue, changing a lot of my limiting beliefs about who I used to be, because I'm not the same person I used to be when I was battling bone crushing fatigue. I knew that I could actually handle this project. I just had to take it in stride and do it in a way that worked with my brain and my energy levels and my emotional energy. I had to flip the switch on my thinking and not allow myself to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but I had to not let that encompass me and bring me down. I am going to share when everything is done what this process was like. I will probably blog about it on my travel blog because this is big. Anyway, so let's get started by talking about overwhelm, because this is something that I know can hold so many of us back with chronic fatigue. It's really easy to get overwhelmed, right? Even I notice a lot of people get overwhelmed and don't take the action to fix the fatigue. Also, there are some women who are gung-ho and take the action to fix the fatigue. They join a program, they join something or start something, but then they get in there and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do, and they feel overwhelmed. So I get it. I feel the same way when I start something new. So something I want you to remember is this. With your power comes success, achievement, and an overall healthier, stronger body and mind. And you have the power within you. Each time that you make a decision, choose to do something that serves you for a higher good, and you follow through, you are using your power. You become empowered, and only you can create your power. And this power is so important to help you overcome overwhelm and reframe limiting beliefs that keep us stuck believing that we can't do something. So, what is overwhelm? Well, overwhelm happens when we have too much information coming at us at the same time. It's when we have a lot going on in our minds and our life, and when it feels like there are way too many choices or options to pick from. You know, when you feel like your brain is being flooded with data and you can't keep up? That's overwhelm. The real problem is that too much data leads to not enough focus. And we need laser sharp focus on something important for us to do and receive and get the results we want, to stay on course, to achieve our goals and our outcomes. So let's take a holistic nutrition and mindset program as an example, because I know that one of the reasons many women do not take action and join such a program is because they feel overwhelmed simply by the thought of starting something new. Can you relate? I also blame a lot of the mainstream health and media, health and fitness programs out there on this feelings of overwhelm when it comes to starting a new program, because so many of them have this go all in or fail mentality or message behind them. And that's just simply not conducive for women who are battling chronic fatigue. We don't have the energy, nor is it a sustainable way of reversing chronic fatigue to go all in and believe you're going to fail if you don't do all the things all at once. So anyway, I get why people feel that way. It's unconscious drivers that hold us back from taking action when it comes to joining a nutrition and mindset program. It's limiting beliefs about ourselves or our abilities, the structures in our thinking that make us believe that we need to do all these things, and that all the things is the only way to achieve success. But again, when you're exhausted, doing all the things at once is just way too much for your poor, exhausted, stressed out body to handle right now. So, not your fault for feeling that way. Limiting beliefs, though, will hold us back from reaching our goals, going for our dreams, and taking action towards being the person that we want to be. They are typically untrue these beliefs. These beliefs we've come to trust in and fall back on, like a crutch. They hold us back and keep us stuck. With fatigue, for sure, it's true that your energy is really low and taking on all the things isn't possible. But the limiting belief here is the all the things mentality about programs. That's the issue, because you can make any program work for you within your abilities and energy levels if it's important enough. There's nobody, I hope, following you around with a like a whip telling you have to do all the things. That is just you allowing someone else's message to become your own. We have to change this belief around doing all the things when it comes to fixing fatigue naturally. We also have to drop the limiting belief that we can fix fatigue quickly and easily, because it's just not going to happen. There's so many imbalances happening in your body that we have to allow it time. We have to be patient with it to help it rebalance from the foundation up, which creates a trickle effect elsewhere in the body, so that you work on the fatigue cycle, the stress and inflammation, and you'll notice hormones rebalancing, digestion improving, mood lightening, all these things. But you do need to be patient and focus on the right thing for the right amount of time. No quick and easy fix here. I totally get, though, if you're feeling like, oh, but that's what I've been told. That's what I am supposed to do. It took me 20 years to realize that these were very big limiting beliefs in the industry, and they're not serving us. And in fact, I believe, and I have seen statistics on this, that these all or nothing programs are designed this way so that you do fail and come back for more, which is why they're multi-billion-dollar industries. Anyway, our beliefs can put boundaries and constraints on what we perceive to be possible for ourselves. And there are three main avenues of how limiting beliefs come about. So the self, the world, and life in general. So an example of a limiting belief about yourself could be that because the diet program in the past has failed you, you're not good at following through and staying committed. In reality, it's more likely that the diet plan was either too strict for your lifestyle, or maybe it wasn't the right time for you to be doing it. Some external factor probably was at play, especially if you've been following or ever followed a weight loss diet plan. They are set up for you to fail, right? By restricting the food so much, or making it really complicated so that you have to like track macros and points and calories, and who has time for that? And it gets to the point where your body and your brain just start to rebel on you. It's like, I can't deal with this. There's way more important things to be doing than this, which makes you fall off the wagon. And then you internalize that as a failure on your part, where it's really not you that's the problem, but there's this limiting belief that you're not good at diets because you've chosen the wrong diet for you and what fits into your lifestyle, what fits into your tastes and your abilities, right? An example of a limiting belief about the world is the idea that if you did or said something, people would think oddly about you. This is one of mine. So one of my personal limiting beliefs is that I have this belief that people think I'm weird and that everything I have to say is stupid and not important. And this comes from being bullied through junior high and high school by 5 specific boys, just constantly. Just a targeted bullying thing that I actually don't know what caused it. And but it definitely ingrained in me that anytime I spoke up, I was just ridiculed endlessly for weeks. So I have this limiting belief about this. I have this limiting belief too that I'm weird, and that's because I just never felt like I fit in with anybody. Probably a lot to do with if I did have a differing opinion, I got ridiculed. Now today, I'm better with all this. I believe my message, things I have to say are important. And I'm okay if I'm thought of as a little bit weird because, hey, what's wrong with that? But it's definitely held me back in my life, my careers especially, and with making friends and networking and all that stuff. So I no longer want to let what others think dictate how I behave or how I feel about myself. So this is a belief that I've been actively working on for the past couple of years, and it is changing. It's taking time and patience. It still pops up every once in a while. So you might have something like that. This is usually something that's happened to you in your life where it's just affected you in that sort of way. And then finally, life-related limiting beliefs could be about time, like, "I'm too busy. I don't have time for that." This is a common one, but the reality is if something is really important to you, you'll find the time, right? It's good to start paying attention to your thoughts and identifying your own limiting beliefs that could be keeping you stuck. At a high level, anytime you find yourself excusing something you want to do or you believe you need to do, take note of what you're telling yourself, what the story is, and just ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Is what I'm thinking true? See what answers come up. There might be a partial truth to it, but is it absolutely 100% true? And if you can say no, then it's a limiting belief. And then what you can do is start just tapping into your intuition for answers to reframe that limiting belief into a way that serves you. Once you have those answers, you can start to figure out what your next step should be in the overall process of where you're trying to get in life. These little changes just need to be something small, something to take action towards what you really want to be or do or feel. Remember, being overwhelmed is often because we just have too much information coming at us and not enough focus. Feeling overwhelmed because of our limiting beliefs means that we need to identify the limiting beliefs first, focus on what they're trying to tell us, and it could be something like protection, motivation, criticism. Just notice it. And then take a few deep breaths and get really intimate with what you would want to be doing instead or thinking. For example, with our nutrition program to overcome chronic fatigue example, you may want to take action and join a program, but your limiting beliefs about not having time or not having the energy to do all the things may pop up. Or not being able to put yourself first for a few hours a week. But is this absolutely true? Is there absolutely no way that you could succeed? So, first of all, you don't have to ever do all the things at once to be successful. Second of all, there's options to find the time. You could ask for help, your mom, a friend, your spouse. Depending on how old your kids are, maybe you can ask them for 30 minutes of quiet playtime so mom can do her thing. Or maybe you have to eat anyway. So making a few minor adjustments to your meal prep may not be as big of a task as your mind is telling you. To move forward, to achieve your goals and dreams, it's really important to just listen for these limiting beliefs and challenge them. So helping my clients overcome overwhelm is one part of my job as their coach inside the energy and hormonal rebalance system. In fact, because I know how overwhelming it can be to feel to join a new health program, I've done everything in my power to remove as much of this as possible for them. None of my clients are asked to do all the things right from day one. Many want to because of the old limiting beliefs, but I have them ease into the program with very specific steps, 1 to 2 things per week only to work on. I want them to get really comfortable with one energy boosting task or habit before they move on to another one, so that the first one is just habitual, subconsciously happening, and we don't have to focus on it anymore. They've just started to do it. My philosophy, especially at the beginning of the program, is to do 1% better every single day. And if you can say that you're doing 1% better every single day, you are winning big time. Because in my experience, taking on too many changes all at once leads to failure. And I absolutely want all of my clients to succeed. I want you to succeed. So just remember that 1% better every day. And if at this point you're feeling overwhelmed today about your next steps in achieving your higher energy goals, maybe you've been trying a bunch of different solutions and it's not getting you closer to where you want to be, maybe you're confused about what the next action should be, then I would definitely say I can almost guarantee that there's something missing in your overall approach, whether that's a mindset, limiting belief related gap. Maybe it's a nutrition gap, maybe it's something else, but there's definitely a gap if you're not feeling more progress after doing different solutions for a while. If that's you and you'd like to have a gap analysis done, let's look at what you're going through today, what you've tried, what's going on, what your goals are. Are they aligned with what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve? And are you hitting all of the parts that need to be hit when it comes to achieving an energy recovery goal? If you'd like to talk through that and have that gap analysis, then I offer a free energy audit call to you. It's about 45 minutes, totally free, no commitments. I will tell you about the energy and hormonal rebalance system on the call if it seems like a good fit, but there's no commitment on this call and it's entirely free. Just a little way to help you, give you that insight because that's missing in almost all of the information that I hear about from my clients, my community, what I see online. Nothing is tied together properly when it comes to overcoming chronic fatigue and burnout for busy women. So, if you'd like to talk through this and connect some dots, then I am here. The link to join or to book the call is in the description of the video. And I hope this was helpful. I will talk to you again soon.